It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. It is a Monday morning, and that time of a Monday morning where we get to talking about relationships. Now, one thing that people believe in relationships is that partners should never go to bed angry with each other. But what if you don't even go to bed at the same time, or your irregular working hours get in the way of having a sync kind of schedule? Do you and your partner perhaps struggle with this, or do you have to find, I guess, friendships to maintain your relationships? How hard is it for you to make this work? Give us a call on 083 913 3728 as we discuss this with Dr. Eve, relationships and sleep.
Ooh,
and being in sync. Dr. Eve looking very much
I love this sports lux athleisure situation happening here.
I didn't know to suit day today.
Or maybe you might be running after this conversation that we're going to be having. Yeah. But let's talk about this. I know that in a new relationship that happens, you know, you maybe would be sleeping with a person. You need
As
to
in
have...
a bed together.
In a bed together, yeah.
Co-sleeping.
Co-sleeping, sharing a bed, yes.
No?
You need those synced sleeping patterns, but like in different jobs, you might not necessarily have that. What happens when that's a little bit off-kilter? What happens to the relationship then?
You know, when people get together in the beginning, we all know that we lie. So there's a huge amount of dishonesty because we speak about it, how you've got to be pleasing to each other. So you don't really reveal a whole lot about yourselves. One of the things that you don't reveal is your different sleep patterns, or the times when you feel you are at your best, or you prefer to, to stay up really late, and that's when you really feel your freshest, or you prefer to get up early in the morning. People hide that for the first about 6 months of a relationship. And then, of course, all the truths begin to be revealed, and one of the things that begins to be revealed is the fact that we have different sleep patterns. And it's incredibly disruptive to a relationship.
Wow.
It affects the intimacy of the relationship, it affects the communication, and affects your social life, as well as your interactions with other people. And then it can actually happen that this big topic, which is very popular now in the mental health world, called sleep hygiene, begins to emerge. This is very popular now. People are putting a huge focus. Research has been done on it as well, the importance of sleep in people's lives and the incredibly negative impact that it has if you do not have a good sleep hygiene pattern. It's like having a good eating habit, is having a good exercise routine. Absolutely essential to have good sleep hygiene. And what we're talking about today, how that impacts on a relationship and on a friendship and your social life as well.
Yeah, I'm actually reading a book right now that says that a good day begins with a good night and talks all about sleep hygiene and why it's so important. So we'll come back with Dr. Eve and we're going to ask questions like what healthy nighttime habits can couples work on in order to try and sync up those schedules if they are indeed out of sync. And we encourage you to please share your tips with us, maybe share your challenges with us. That's why Dr. Eve is here. And give us a call on 083 913 3728.
Well, of course, we are with our relationship expert, Dr. Eve, in the house. And this morning we're talking about how couples can negotiate irregular sleeping patterns and working hours. But before we chat to her, we caught up with some of our participants this morning to chat about how their irregular work hours gets in the way of building a healthy relationship with their partner.
Hi, I'm Kelly.
Hi, my name is Andrew.
Hi, my name is Andrea.
I'm 26, production manager in Cape Town, and I've been dating my girlfriend for a year and a half.
I work in the restaurant industry.
I'm a salon owner in southern suburbs.
And we've been married for 7 years.
I think it can be really frustrating when you want to spend time with your partner, but you're really committed to your work.
Do you know what? You have to put bread on the table, and sometimes you have to sacrifice in order to make things work.
Often for me, I enjoy what I'm doing, so...
I find myself in that situation at times. I've got to work night shifts now and again in the restaurants. I'm also studying after hours, so yeah, that does pose sometimes a bit of a pressure at home, but we have to work through it.
I just tell him. I phone him and I go, I need a date. And then I go to the waterfront where Andrew is, and I tell him I need a date, and we have a date. It's very simple.
Wow. Okay, thank you very much to our couples for contributing. Dr. Eve wants me to mention what I just mentioned while we were watching that. I don't know why, but I'll say it. So, you know how sometimes people are so passionate about what they do, they love their job so much that they would rather work their bums off than handle the stresses that come with a relationship.
Oh, you're so brave. You're so honest.
I'm just putting it out there. I'm just telling it like it is because people feel like that out there in life.
But you know why I'm loving what you're saying? It's because we totally say that we value relationship, or we're taught to value relationship as being the number one aspiration in our lives. And it is. We want to have healthy, loving relationships. We are social as human beings. But at the same time, we value what we do. We value work. And as we age and as we go through different stages of our lives, people place different value on different aspects of life. Like right now for you, for Leanne, I have to say for me too, even though I'm way older than all of you, work is, my passion. It is a huge value for me. And at different stages of your life, it's like, okay, now relationship is a passion and a huge focus for me. But let's kind of stick to the topic of what we're talking about and relate it to what you're saying. Is the fact of sleep and how do we sync our relationships? Because here we heard couples saying as well, both of them, that work is a priority and they put that first over and above their relationship. Now, if you're in a relationship, there's almost like a responsibility, and there is like, again, a societal myth that couples have to go to bed together, that they have to sync their sleeping patterns together. Like, why?
Yeah.
Why do we have to do that?
Why is that?
Exactly. It's like because you start off the show by saying you don't go to bed angry, which I agree with.
Yes.
I really believe that you have to have a resolution before you're actually able to rest yourself at night. But why is this whole myth? It's the same myth as like you have to share a bed, or you have to share a bathroom, or you have to be in a relationship. It's not true. If you're in a relationship and you find that you've got a different sleeping pattern or you don't sync with each other, accept it and find other ways to be intimate. Find other ways to spend time besides only being in bed, and other times to be sexual. It doesn't always have to be in bed when both of you are tired or one is really feeling frisky, or in the morning when the kids are all around and one wants to have a quickie and the other one says, this is really not good for me. Let's be a little creative and adaptive.
Yeah. You also mentioned the fact that when you are in a relationship, there's certain things that you only find out then. I want to chat after the break about sleep disruption disorders.
Please,
things like snoring, sleep apnea. Because that would be a hectic one for me to find out that I'm with a snorer of note. So we're going to catch up with Dr. Eve a little bit more after the break and, of course, bring you some frugal feasting while we're at it.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
All right, welcome back. We're live on SABC3. This is your feel-good breakfast show, Expresso. And, as if relationships weren't hard enough to make work, now we're dealing with the concept of sleep and different sleeping patterns and how these can add an extra burden on your relationship. So we went out and asked our couples if regular working hours are indeed an issue in their relationships.
On a Monday, we're both off, and so we get to have quality time together. And then we sit down and we go, right, what is the week? What does it look like? And then we actually intentionally make sure we're making time. So if it's a crazy week, even if it's a coffee date at the table, babe, that's what we will do, a quick one. But we intentionally, and sometimes we can't get anywhere, then it's just a DVD with a good cup of coffee and some popcorn in front of the TV, but you have to be intentional. Otherwise, weeks can go by and you haven't had a date. And I still want a date. I'm married, but I want a date.
I feel like my partner and I have resolved working hours. It's pretty easy once you've figured out your schedule and sort of scheduled in time for your relationship.
We've just made sure that we spend that quality time together. We make time for that, no matter what our schedules are. We just make sure we always have a date day in the week, always. And we just try and spend as much quality time together that we can.
I was saying to Dr. Eve just now that it feels sort of unnatural to have to schedule your relationship. Like, look at your calendar. This is what my day looks like, and this is where I can slot you in. Is that where we are right now?
And even your sleep.
Even that, exactly. Like, I've only got
sleeping?
10 hours left that I can potentially spend with you today because everything else is taken up. Is that where we are?
That's where we are. Yeah. It all depends.
Even scheduled quality time is in there.
I know, and it feels so unspontaneous. And then people think, well, okay, let's just kind of put the sex thing into that as well. And that feels even more rigid and really quite unsatisfying too. It's a reality. I do want to emphasize that this thing around sleep can be, we were talking, and a deal breaker for people. And for people, and I'd really like to reach out to our listeners, to our viewers, I should say, and say, talk to us about this, because we know, I know from research and from my clinical practice that people who are staying with people who have things like sleep apnea or snoring or other sleep disturbances that happen where one wakes up in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
For example, also there are many menopausal women who are watching us right now, and I know that one of the... Yeah, he can laugh because he's not a woman.
No,
he's a
I'm not
young
laughing at
guy.
that. There's
understands.
something complete
Yeah.
that I wanted to touch on with
Go
regards
ahead.
to that. You know, like how, because it's happened to me in the past before, where you're sleeping sound asleep, partner wakes up, and because they're awake, they want you to be awake with them to comfort them. And then like,
that's
but
not
babe,
cool.
this is not cool.
No, that's not okay.
That is, but it's a reality of stuff that does happen.
Yeah, that's not okay. So with menopausal women specifically, there is really a sleep disturbance that happens because of changes in temperature and not being able to manage temperatures, temperature control, and that's incredibly disturbing to the partner. Be realistic and say, okay, I'm just going to sleep in the next bed if there is another bed to sleep in or another bedroom for a little while.
And that should be okay.
It absolutely shouldn't. It shouldn't be taken as a personal rejection. It doesn't mean your relationship is falling apart. It means you're being flexible and you're being adaptive and you're being smart about managing your relationship. There is research as well, which I just got this weekend, which was just fantastically timeless. They did a study on menopausal women to say what is your sexual satisfaction and frequency like, and it's incredibly disturbed by sleeplessness. So it's important to practice sleep hygiene independently as an individual person. Sync your own sleep pattern before you're trying to sync it with a partner. Make sure that you've got a regular bed routine that you do, whether it is taking your bath, having your quiet time, being mindful, doing your meditation, doing your reading, take away your screens, make sure that your hygiene is good, and then you're able to get into bed with a partner or without a partner and, you know, be able to have some kind of conversation if whatever you want to be doing in bed.
I want to come back and talk about that and how these conversations can happen then between couples for the one who... you know, let's say you're on the receiving end of a partner telling you that I do have to meditate before I go to sleep, that you don't take that as a distancing of your partner from yourself, because that could also be a deal breaker for some people out there. So give us a call on 083-9133-728. We'll be back with Dr. Eve. All right, well, we'll be speaking to Dr. Eve this morning, trying to get some advice on how irregular hours of work and sleep patterns influences relationships out there. And we've realized that it's something of a topic that really spreads its wings to so many different facets of our lives. And before we continue with Dr. Eve, we asked our hardworking couples out there how they make up for lost time with their loved ones. And this is what they had to say.
I think being in the film industry, when we do get a lot of downtime, it's important to try and make most of that time. And even on a Sunday, a quick walk in the park, anything that takes you out of a situation.
First and foremost, we try and not have lost time. There has to be a day for us to have a date. But let's say there isn't. I will make sure that there are little notes for Andrew in his lunch bag that tell him I love him, or his favorite chocolate.
I think scheduling in short activities for yourself and your partner, like a hike or any activity that just takes you out of your home environment, is important and eases the frustration of working.
Andrea is one of those, she likes little messages during the day, so on WhatsApp. I'm not always successful with remembering to do them, but I do. The WhatsApps, the little emojis, and also just when we do see each other, there's always an embrace. We always will hold hands, we'll always give each other a hug, or there's that connection that has to happen.
Wow, I always believe that communication is the road on which healthy relationships travel. But Dr. Eve, that was amazing, right?
That was
I just wanted to add one thing in. Yes. Communication. The word that we're using right now in the therapeutic circles is connection. Connection.
Yes,
because communication, like everyone's like, oh yeah.
I know. It's very
connection.
pie in
We
the
all
sky.
seek connection, but you've got to be creative. Like we heard some of these couples, you have to be creative using technology, which other forms of communication to connect. That's going to be the goal.
Talking about connection, to couples who have lost that connection through irregular work patterns, sleeping patterns, what kind of advice and understanding can you give a partner or a friend who feels like they've somehow suffered with regards to that?
That they have lost connection because of shift work, because of different patterns of sleep that they have connected. I like what the couple was saying, as I alluded to now, is the use of technology. We want to feel connected, and it doesn't have to be in the traditional sense if we do not have the time or the ability or your schedules don't allow for it. But you want to keep that thread of connection and erotic connection going. So you can use technology. You WhatsApp with each other. You send little messages, send little videos of yourself. I mean, there's so much technology that one can use to get the feeling, because what we're chasing is not only the physical presence of somebody, but the connection, the emotional connection that we have with somebody, that we still feel what we want to feel, that we're special, that we've been thought of, that there is somebody, you know, who is in your world, who is significant to you, who's making you feel the way you want to be feeling. That's protective. It's very important.
Yeah. And then finally, maybe you could
Yes.
give us some tips on what nighttime habits, healthy nighttime habits partners can exercise and cultivate in their relationship in order to help if there is such an irregularity or non-syncing of schedules.
Great. First thing I do want to say is that there has to be an acknowledgement, Kat, that many people avoid syncing their sleeping habits because they don't want to be in bed with each other together. They don't want to be sitting with the tension that might be there because of conflict that hasn't been resolved. They don't want to be being sexual with each other. And the most wonderful strategy is just not coming to bed at the same time together, or avoiding going to bed at all or in the same bedroom. Please be honest about
Acknowledge
that.
it, okay.
Be honest, acknowledge it, talk about it, that this is difficult, because it's only going to lead to further tension and more sleep disturbance. So some great sleep hygiene tips that you want to be following. Make sure that you don't drink too much alcohol beforehand. Some people drink alcohol to feel sleepy, but the problem is that it's going to make you not sleep well.
Yeah,
It's just,
it's not
you
quality
just fall asleep like that with it, but you actually don't sleep well. It disturbs your sleep. Don't spend too much time before a screen before you go to sleep. Make sure that you go to sleep at the same time every night and that you have the same wake-up time. Try and keep that same every single night to be able to get into a good routine. Have a ritual of whether it is, as I said earlier, bathing, meditating. And meditating doesn't have to be sitting in a corner for 10 hours. There are fantastic apps that I recommend to all of my clients to be using. The most popular one that we're using right now is something called Headspace. Download it. It's for free. It's a fabulous way to get yourself to be mindful, to be meditative, and to fall asleep. And lots of my clients will wake up in the middle of the night and just turn on Headspace. And in that app, you're able to just get back into a quiet, breathing, sleepful state. And wake up more or less the same time. See that you eat correctly, see that you exercise correctly, not too hectically before you go to sleep, just maybe a few minutes, 30 minutes beforehand. All of these things are essential to being able to feel still and therefore intimate with somebody. Connect.
Connection. That's all. That's what it's all about.
Thank you very much, Dr. Eve. Much appreciated, and hope that that was an enlightening conversation for you. We'll do this again with Dr. Eve, of course, next week. But there's still lots more you can expect in the final 20 minutes of your Feel Good Breakfast show.